A girl's first step towards the world. This story is set in a small town about 100 years ago, a time when life was much simpler and less advanced than today. In a cozy little town, there lived a cheerful girl named Lily, her mother Sarah, and her grandfather Henry. Lily's grandmother had passed away the previous year.
Sarah and Henry ran a small bakery in town. Lily's father, John, worked as a sailor, and it had been several months since they last heard from him. Lily was now 6 years old. One day, an old friend of Sarah's, Uncle Thomas, who drove the town's horse-drawn cart, suggested, "Sarah, Lily is 6 now. It's time to send her to school, don't you think?" "Yes, Uncle Thomas. I've been meaning to do so, but time just slips by. I've been putting it off for months. But today, I'll make sure I go and get her enrolled," as she placed fresh loaves of bread on the bakery shelves. "It's important for her to start her schooling. Tomorrow, I'll be passing by the school at 10 o'clock. If you'd like, you can join me, but do keep in mind that I'm always on time," Uncle Thomas said. Every morning, Uncle Thomas would drive the school children to their school and then head to the market to deliver goods around town. The next morning, Sarah quickly arranged the bread and buns and helped Lily into a clean yellow dress. Uncle Thomas arrived right on time. Lily excitedly jumped into the cart, and her mother sat beside her. As they traveled, Lily began reciting a poem that reminded her of her father, and she sang joyfully. When they arrived at the school, Sarah and Lily entered the principal's office. The principal, Mrs. Matthews, was a kind-hearted woman. She asked for Lily's name and the name of her father. After a brief conversation, Sarah asked Lily to recite the poem for Mrs. Matthews. Lily hesitated, but then shyly shared it. As Sarah filled out some paperwork, Mrs. Matthews asked how Lily's father was doing and if she had received any letters from him. As Sarah filled out some paperwork, Mrs. Matthews asked how Lily's father was doing and if she had received any letters from him. As Sarah filled out some paperwork, Mrs. Matthews asked how Lily's father was doing and if she had received any letters from him. In a small town like theirs, everyone knew a lot about each other, so they soon got lost in conversation. Meanwhile, Lily stepped outside to explore the schoolyard, which had just begun its half-break. Children were playing and eating their snacks. Lily joined a few of them, but soon felt hungry. She stopped playing and took an apple from her small satchel, munching on it quietly. The teacher, seeing her, allowed Lily to finish her snack in the classroom since it was her first day. But another teacher, who was stricter, did not allow it and told Lily to stand outside. When the teacher became distracted, Lily slipped away to the playground. A little bored, she left the school through the main door. The school's guard was ringing the bell at that moment, and the door was open, so Lily walked out without anyone noticing. She had decided she would never return. Since she had never ventured to this part of town before, she got lost and wandered in the wrong direction. Tired and sleepy, she thought she saw Uncle Thomas's cart from a distance, but as she got closer, she realized it was a different one. Still, she was too exhausted to care. She lay down on a pile of grass at the back of the cart and fell asleep. When she woke up, she found herself on a soft bed inside a clean cottage. The cart driver, who was a farmer, had been picking up hay for his horses. He gently placed a bundle of hay next to her and continued with his work. Lily didn't wake up until she had rested fully. She jumped out of bed and explored the small house. There was a large courtyard outside, and an old woman was cooking over a stove. She approached the old woman and asked, "I'm hungry. Can I eat something?" The woman, who had a rough demeanor, told her to wait. Lily realized that the woman seemed a little distant, but she was used to the warmth and kindness of everyone in the town. Today, for the first time, she felt the weight of her own home and family. She now understood that not everyone's life was as comfortable as hers. When the woman set the table, Lily eagerly sat down. The food was a thin soup with dry bread. It wasn't like the warm, crispy bread she was used to. She had often wasted food at home, but now she felt the value of every meal. After the meal, the old man of the house asked Lily where she lived, but she didn't know. "I can tell you my mother and grandfather's names. My mother runs a bakery, and my father works on a ship," she said. "Oh, so you're Sarah's daughter from the bakery. But how did you end up all the way out here?" he asked. Lily explained her entire adventure, including how she wandered off from school. The old woman laughed at the story, but the man said, If you had learned something at school, you could have told us your address by now." The man decided to take Lily back to school the next morning. He dropped her off, and within minutes, the news of her disappearance and return spread across the town. Sarah and Henry, frantic with worry, quickly set off for the school. When Sarah saw Lily, she hugged her tightly and kissed her forehead. Henry didn't scold her that day. The farmer explained the situation and apologized for not bringing Lily home the night before. After this incident, Lily made a promise to herself that she would never waste food again and would be grateful for everything she had. She realized the importance of family, home, and education. From that day on, she was determined to go to school every day and learn as much as she could.